The paint used in this following video is Plastic Coat, Primer, Base Color, and Clear Coat. Hi folks, so this is a how-to video, or rather a how I did it video, to refinish Porsche rims. If you look closely at this picture right here, this is the before picture. They're not in bad shape at all. They're not scuffed, they're not pitted or scratched or anything like that. There's just a little bit of discoloration, mostly around the outer edge of the wheel, just simply from age and a little bit of corrosion. Anyway, the refinishing that I'm going to do is basically just painting. I'm not going to be bondoing or filling these at all.
So what you want to do before you sand, first thing you do with these rims, you get a rag and clean off all the basic dirt and all the moisture, and then you get another rag. You're going to want 3 rags, and you get another rag that you can that is clean, that you can totally soak in alcohol. I'm using isopropylized alcohol, and then I'm cleaning it all off. I'm making sure all the grease is off and all the remaining dirt is off. And because this is not etched, it's just discolored in spots, I don't really need to go to a coarse grit sandpaper, so I'm going to wet sand it straight to 800 grit paper. Then once you've done that with the alcohol, you want to get a towel that you're going to sacrifice, a clean towel, and make it a rag, and then clean off the last final bits, wipe away the alcohol and the little fine bits of dust, the little particles that might remain. And the good thing about alcohol, as I mentioned I think before, is that it evaporates off anything that you don't get, so make sure you get in everywhere. So the method of sanding that I'm doing here is wet dry paper. It's 800 grit, and I'm doing it wet. I just find that it works better that way. It seems to get a better result. So anyway, how I wet sand it, whether it's the right way or not, is I mist down with a spray bottle, and then I just go ahead and start sanding. And as the paper gets clogged up and stuff, I just rinse it off on a tap. Simple as that. So anyway, you want to sand that up so that the gloss is off of it, but because this is not really a gouged or chipped or anything like that, it's just a little bit of discolor from age. I don't need to do a whole lot of harsh sanding, and I can use 800 grit, go straight to 800 grit, because I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to get any big etches or lumps out of the finish before I start priming. So I start with the rim, and I do all the way around the rim. And then I get inside there after I've done the rim. Like, I do the rim first. I'm not going to film all of that because it takes time. And then I get into all the hard to reach places like there. And then I move on, and then I start doing that. And do it in little stages, and then in there, and so on. You just want to make sure that you get everything and spend enough time into it that you are getting a little bit of a powdery finish on it and getting rid of the gloss. The primer does need some kind of texture to stick to, so keep that in mind.
People, please keep in mind here, you do need to sand every little bit that is going to be painted, just to make sure that there's something for the paint to stick to. Obviously, filming and doing this, holding a camera in one hand and sanding, is a little bit difficult, so I didn't film the entire process of sanding.
So now, if you can see on camera here, it's almost looking like it's been powdered. It's not glossy and shiny anymore, except of course in the middle where I'm not going to be painting anyway. That's what it should be like, and then the primer and paint will stick. So folks, when I show you this part of the masking, you're going to notice, yeah, these are my old rims. But when I was editing the video here, I realized that I lost the footage of this part of the masking. So I'm redoing it on my old rims just to show you how it's done. What you want to do is you want to take paint masking tape, rip off pieces about so big, and take them at the edge of the rim and the tire and tuck it right in there. And then tape it down to the tire and do that all the way around. Just small pieces. Don't try and do it with one big piece. Just do small little pieces. And of course the tire will be clean, so it will stick properly. Tuck it right in there so that you're getting it right in there, and that will keep the paint from getting on the tire. So when you finish doing that, the wheel should look something like this. Tape is all the way around and it's tucked in between the tire and the rim. And if you do get any points where it's not quite tucked in properly, like for example right here, just take an ordinary butter knife and gently, carefully, without scratching the rim, just tuck it all the way in. Go around, make sure that's all the way in. Now the next stage of masking, just go around. This time you can do it with a one big piece and just kind of crimp it as you go. Go around the edge, making sure that you're overlapping, and mask all the way around, just so that you end up with a bit of a wider span of tape, so that you can work with it easier. So again, when you finish that stage, you should end up like that, and it'll be a little bit of a wider amount of tape that you can work with, just like that. Then you take bits of paper. You can use newspaper, you can use just sheets of paper, anything you want really. And then you take pieces of tape, about so long again, you rip them off, and you tape them to the edge of the paper, like so that you got, you know, half on the paper, half on the tape. And then what you're going to do is overlapping, put that on the tape, and you're shielding the tire with the paper and the tape, like that. One piece looks like that. Go around and do that around the whole tire. So then when I've got it all masked off, you can see the paper goes all the way around the tire, and it looks something like that. Now I'm ready for a primer coat. Also, folks, I did forget to mention, make sure you wrap the air stem, or the air valve stem, with tape to make sure that doesn't get painted silver too, unless you like it silver, which would look kind of weird in my opinion. So anyway, plastic coat, primer. Ken says to shake for at least 1 minute. So do that. I've already done that for you. But then you can take maybe a piece of the paper, kind of get used to the spray pattern a little bit, and then once you're used to it, go ahead and start priming the wheel. Now you want to make sure that you get in at all angles. Just needs a light coat to start. Make sure you fill in all the areas in all the angles, like that. Now when you're doing this, folks, hold the can about, I don't know, 8 to 10 inches, even 12 inches isn't too bad. And do it just little bits at a time. Don't go crazy with it, because you don't want runs happening. Make sure you get in all the little cracks and like that. It's really hard to do this holding the camera at the same time, so I will put it down and I'll show you the end result. Now another thing that primer does is it exposes and shows any flaws that are in the smoothness of the tire. For example, right there, I take a fat flashlight and show it in. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little blob of gunk that was on the tire that I didn't quite clean off. So anyway, not to worry, I'm going to leave it until the primer dries, and then I'm just going to sand it out, and if need be, just put a little bit more primer over it. Okay, so the primer's dried for an hour as it recommended, and as far as that little piece of gunk went, I just took my fingers and wiped it, and fortunately it came off. It didn't even really stick to anything, so I don't need to get in there and resand it and reprime it or anything, so that's perfect. So now I'm ready for base coat of the silver color. So plastic coat is what I'm using again for the base color, and it's kind of a polished aluminum kind of finish. And again, you have to shake the can for 1 minute vigorously before you use it. So I'm going to do that and then get back to you. Now with the actual paint, you have to be a little bit more careful not to put on too thick of coats. Just do several very light coats, because this runs a lot easier than the actual primer does. So do it in the same fashion, the same pattern, same, getting in all the spots and stuff. But make sure you just put very, very light coats, and do 2 or 3 of them, or 3 or 4 of them, depending how good a result you get just with the one. The first one will give you an idea, and then go accordingly. Now this is a different kind of sweeping that you would do if you're painting a car or a panel or something like this, because you're getting into different little spots and crevices, And that's, you know, a whole different method than just doing a flat panel. So anyway, do just a little coat like that. That's a good enough coat for now. Let it dry for a few minutes and then do another one.
Now after you finish the base color, you want to leave it to dry for about 24 hours. In my case, I did 4 coats, and after the final coat, I let it dry for 24 hours. And folks, you're going to have to forgive me for this, but I actually forgot to record the clear coat process. But I can tell you about it. It's very simple. It's the same process as doing the base color. However, you do the coats a little bit thicker just to make sure that there's actual shine when it's wet, because then it will dry with a shine. If it's just a dusty, powdery coat, then it will dry with a dusty, powdery finish. I did 2 coats. That's all it needed. Nice and thick, but not too thick. You don't want it to run. Please forgive me again for not recording the clear coat part, but I decided to go ahead and post this video because I promised I would. And here's the end result. This is what it looks like. Now this is the best I could do for pictures, folks. It's winter in Vancouver, Canada, and as usual, the weather is dark, dreary, with about 5 miles thick cloud above. So it's bad lighting, but it still gives you a good idea how it looks. However, it doesn't really show the nice, brilliant finish that it did turn out to be like it does in real person. Another little secret I wanted to tell you is this is the first time I ever did this. I didn't tell you till now because I wanted to show you how easy it actually is. That's why I said it's a how I did it video, not really a how to. However, it seems to have worked and time will tell. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. This channel is mainly about Porsche 928 and all other supercars. I make videos and edit them on the cruises, events, car shows that happen, and other little interesting videos about Porsche 928 and other supercars. Thanks again for watching.